voice of Priyanka Chopra. There comes a time in life when you stop looking outward for validation and start turning inward for truth. I know what it feels like to carry the weight of proving something, to want to show the world or that one person that you were worth staying for, worth choosing, worth believing in. And for a while, maybe that becomes your fire. Maybe that becomes your reason to keep going. But there's a moment, and it's a powerful one, when you realize you don't need to prove anything to anyone, not anymore. Because this next chapter, it's not about them. It's not about who doubted you, hurt you, or didn't see your worth. It's about you, about your growth, your healing, your joy, your becoming. This is your permission to stop performing and start living for yourself. Because when you finally choose yourself, the world starts to move differently around you. Let's talk about that moment, that shift, that awakening. Because I promise you, it's the most free, powerful, and beautiful decision you will ever make. You know, if there's one truth I've learned in the whirlwind of life, love, fame, and failure, it's this. You cannot move forward while still gripping onto what broke you. Letting go isn't weakness. It isn't giving up. It's the first brave step toward healing, toward becoming the version of yourself that pain tried to bury. We all carry stories, scars, regrets. People we thought were permanent fixtures in our lives only to realize they were temporary lessons. And sometimes we carry those stories too long. We replay the hurt. We wonder what we did wrong. We keep ourselves trapped in a cycle of what if and why me, as if by dissecting the pain, we'll somehow make sense of it. But here's the thing. Healing doesn't come from holding on. It comes from the release, the moment you decide, this no longer serves me. This no longer defines me. I know it's hard. We cling to the pain because it becomes familiar, almost comforting in its own twisted way. We think letting go means forgetting. It doesn't. It means forgiving. Not necessarily the other person, but yourself. Forgiving yourself for trusting too much, for staying too long, for loving someone who couldn't love you back. It means saying, I deserve better, and then walking away, even if your knees are shaking. When you hold on to what hurt you, you give it power. You give it space in your mind, your heart, your future. Imagine carrying a suitcase full of bricks, trying to climb a mountain. That's what it's like when we refuse to let go of pain. It weighs us down. It slows our journey. It makes every step feel heavier than it needs to be. I've had to let go of things I thought I couldn't live without, people I thought would be in my life forever, roles I thought would define my career, moments where I thought, this is it, only to be hit with the reality that life had other plans. And yes, it broke me every single time, but every single time I chose to get up. I chose to release what I couldn't control. And slowly, healing found me. You have to create space for something better. If your hands are full of what hurt you, how can you receive what's meant for you? How can you embrace new love, new opportunities, new energy if you're still stuck on someone or something that already let go of you? Letting go is not about pretending it didn't happen. It's about acknowledging the pain, learning from it, and then choosing not to carry it into your future. It's about standing in front of the mirror, looking yourself in the eye, and saying, I'm done letting this define me. And yes, sometimes healing looks like crying on the bathroom floor. Sometimes it's unfollowing someone quietly, deleting old messages, choosing not to respond. Sometimes it's therapy. Sometimes it's journaling, traveling, praying, working out, or just giving yourself time. Healing doesn't follow a script. It follows your heart. And your heart already knows what to do. You just have to trust it. The strongest people I know are not the ones who never got hurt. They're the ones who felt it, lived through it, and still had the courage to let it go. To choose themselves. To say, I am more than what happened to me. So if you're holding on to something today, someone who hurt you, a dream that fell apart, a moment you can't stop replaying, I want you to ask yourself, what is this really costing me? Your peace? Your joy? Your self-worth? And if the answer is yes, it's time. Let go. Not because they deserve it, but because you do. You deserve to feel light again. You deserve to wake up without a lump in your chest. You deserve to make room for people and experiences that lift you, love you, and see you fully. But none of that can happen until you release what broke you. So take a deep breath and let go. It's not the end of the story, it's the beginning of a new one. And I promise you, it gets better from here. Let's get one thing very clear. You are not defined by someone who couldn't see your worth. Not a partner who walked away, not a friend who turned cold, not a boss who overlooked your efforts, not society's opinions or some stranger's judgment. Your value, your brilliance, your entire being cannot and should not be reduced to someone else's limited perception. I have been in rooms where I was underestimated, where people smiled to my face and whispered behind my back, where they saw me only through the lens of where I came from, not who I was becoming. And you know what? It used to hurt deeply. Because we all want to be seen, to be understood, to be appreciated for our true selves. But here's the truth I learned. Someone else's blindness does not mean you are invisible. Just because they couldn't recognize your magic doesn't mean it isn't real. Just because they didn't clap for you doesn't mean your success is any less valid. Their failure to see you, that's on them, not on you. We live in a world that often celebrates superficial things, fame, filters, status, and forgets to look deeper. People make snap judgments. They assume, they compare, they project their insecurities onto you. And if you're not careful, you start to internalize it. You start to question yourself, maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe I should have tried harder. Maybe if I looked different, acted different, loved different, they would have stayed. But stop right there. That spiral ends now. Because your worth isn't conditional. It's not tied to their ability to recognize it. You are worthy because of who you are. Your heart, your integrity, your dreams, your fire. You are not someone else's opinion. You are your own truth. I want you to imagine a diamond in the dirt. It might be covered in mud, kicked around, ignored. But does that make it any less valuable? No. Its brilliance is still there. It just needs to be seen by the right eyes. You are that diamond. And the people who overlook you, they're not the right eyes. They're not your people. You know, in my own life and career, I've faced rejection, criticism, and labels. To this, not enough that. I've been told to fit a box that never made sense to me. And for a while, I tried. I dimmed my light to make others comfortable. I tried to earn approval that was never really about me in the first place. But here's what changed everything. I stopped trying to be understood by people who were never meant to understand me. I started embracing myself fully, even the messy, imperfect parts, especially those parts, because that's where my strength came from. That's where your strength comes from, too. Let me tell you something powerful. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth. The right people will feel it without explanation. The right opportunities will align without begging. The right energy will find you when you're living in your truth, not shrinking, not chasing, just being. And for those who didn't see you, let them go with grace. Wish them well, but don't make their blindness your burden. Don't carry their inability to love you into your future relationships. Don't let their silence echo in your heart longer than it should. What they couldn't see in you, someone else will treasure, someone else will honor. But first, you need to see it in yourself. Because the most important relationship you'll ever have is with you. Your self-belief, your inner knowing, your unshakable trust that you are enough, just as you are. That's the foundation for everything. So hold your head high, not with arrogance, but with certainty. Know that you are not a reflection of who walked away. You are a reflection of what you're becoming. You are not here to prove anything to anyone. You're here to live, to grow, to shine on your own terms. Remember, your brilliance isn't lost just because someone else was too blind to see it. It's still there, glowing, pulsing, waiting for the right eyes, the right moment, the right stage. And when it all aligns, when the light finally hits you the way it was always meant to, you'll look back and smile. Not because it was easy, but because you finally realized you were never the problem. You were the lesson. You were the light. You were always enough. And now, you're unstoppable. Let's talk about rejection. That sting. That knot in your stomach when someone says no, when a door closes, when an opportunity slips through your fingers after you gave it your all. We've all been there. I've been there. Countless times. And for a long time, I used to take rejection personally. I would wonder, what did I do wrong? Was I not good enough? Did I not try hard enough? But over time, through heartbreaks, career setbacks, really painful lessons, I realized something that changed my entire perspective. Rejection is not the end. It's redirection. Yes, that's right. It's life's way of whispering, this isn't your path. Keep moving, something better is ahead. You see, sometimes we get so attached to a person, a dream, a job, a role, that we convince ourselves it's the only way. That if this doesn't work out, we'll break. But life is much bigger than that one moment. Sometimes what you desperately wanted is not aligned with who you're meant to become. And that rejection, that no, it's not a punishment. It's protection. It's a reroute to a destination that actually honors who you are. I remember losing out on roles I thought were career-defining. I remember the relationships that didn't work out, the partnerships that dissolved, and I cried, I questioned everything, but every single time, something better came along, something I couldn't even see at the time. You know why? Because life has a better imagination than we do. Sometimes the universe dreams bigger for us than we dream for ourselves. And when we cling too tightly to something not meant for us, we block what is meant for us from arriving. That's the magic of redirection. Rejection forces us to pause, to reassess, to pivot. It humbles us. It teaches resilience. It reminds us that our worth doesn't come from external validation, but from our own belief in ourselves. And let me say this, especially for those of you who feel broken by a rejection today, you are not less because someone said no. That no didn't strip you of your talent. It didn't take away your value. It didn't diminish your potential. All it did was change your direction. Think about the moments in your life where something didn't go your way, and then months or years later, you looked back and said, thank God that didn't happen. Thank God I was redirected. That relationship you cried over, it would have held you back. That job you lost, it cleared space for something better. That plan that failed, it led you to your purpose. When you start to see rejection this way, not as a closed door, but a compass, you begin to welcome it differently. Instead of mourning, you ask, okay, where to now? Instead of blaming yourself, you trust that something is aligning in your favor, even if it's still unseen. That's the power of perspective. And perspective is everything. Here's the deal. The people who make it in life, in love, in business, are not the ones who never faced rejection. They're the ones who learned to use it. They're the ones who saw a no and didn't stop. They got back up, redirected their energy, and kept walking. I want you to do the same. If something didn't work out for you recently, take a deep breath. Honor your feelings. It's okay to be disappointed, but then remind yourself, this isn't the end of the story. This is a new chapter waiting to be written. Every rejection is secretly guiding you to where you truly belong. So don't chase closed doors. Don't beg to stay where you're not valued. Don't shrink to fit into spaces that can't contain your light. Instead, lift your chin, Wipe your tears and say with confidence, something better is coming. I'm being redirected to exactly where I need to be. Because you are. And one day, when you're standing in the middle of that better thing, whether it's love, career, peace, purpose, you'll look back at that rejection and smile, not because it didn't hurt, but because it helped. It shaped you. It guided you. It made space for something extraordinary. So trust it. Rejection is not the end. It's a beginning in disguise. It's redirection, and it's always, always taking you somewhere better. Let's have a real conversation about something most of us have done at least once in our lives. Chasing closure. That desperate need to understand why someone hurt us, why they left, why things fell apart. We replay the conversations, analyze the silence, and keep reaching out, hoping that maybe they'll give us that one explanation, that one apology, that one line that will finally give us peace. But let me tell you something from my heart. Stop chasing closure from people who never deserved you. Your peace doesn't need their permission. I say this with love and with experience, because I've been there too, waiting for a message that never came, hoping someone would see the pain they caused and offer an explanation. But more often than not, the people who hurt us the most are the least capable of giving us the closure we crave. Not because we're not worthy of it, but because they're not capable of showing up in the way we need. And here's the hard truth. Someone who didn't respect you enough to love you right isn't suddenly going to turn around and validate your pain with wisdom and maturity. That's not who they are. If they were capable of giving you clarity, compassion, and care, you wouldn't be needing closure in the first place. We believe that closure will set us free, that once we hear, "I'm sorry," or "I made a mistake," everything will make sense and we'll finally be able to move on. But the truth is, closure is an inside job. It's not something someone else hands you. It's something you give yourself. It's a choice you make to stop giving power to a person who never truly valued your heart. Let's be honest. What are we really looking for when we chase closure? Validation? Revenge in the form of guilt? A final moment of connection? Sometimes we disguise our desire to reopen the wound as just needing answers. But what we actually need is healing. And healing doesn't happen in someone else's mouth. It happens in your decision to no longer be held hostage by what they did or didn't do. When someone walks away from you, disrespects you, or ghosts you, it says everything about who they are and nothing about who you are. You are not hard to love. You are not too much. You are not unworthy just because someone didn't see your light. Their inability to meet you where you deserved to be met is not your responsibility. So stop looking backwards for peace. That's like trying to read the next chapter of your life while staring at a page that's already been torn out. Let it go. Let them go. And instead of asking, why didn't they love me the way I needed? Ask yourself, why was I willing to accept less than I deserved? That's where the power begins to shift, because guess what? You don't need their apology to forgive them. You don't need their explanation to understand your worth. You don't need their presence to find your peace. You can close the chapter without their help. You can heal without their permission. And you should, because your peace, your happiness, your emotional freedom, it matters more than keeping a seat open for someone who already walked out. You were never meant to chase people. You were meant to be chosen. Effortlessly, wholly, without conditions. The right people won't confuse you. They won't make you beg for clarity or closure. They'll communicate. They'll show up. They'll value your heart the way it was meant to be valued. So give yourself permission to move on without the final words. Because you don't need them to close the door. You are allowed to say, this hurt me, this confused me, but I'm choosing to let go anyway. You're allowed to write your own ending, one where you rise, one where you protect your peace, one where you stop handing emotional control to people who didn't handle your heart with care. So the next time you find yourself tempted to reach out, to reopen the wound, to seek answers from someone who walked away like you meant nothing, pause, breathe, and remind yourself your peace is yours. And no one, not even the one who hurt you, gets to decide when you claim it. Let go of the need for closure and watch how free you become. Let's get this straight from the beginning. You should never have to convince someone of your worth. Never. Not in love, not in friendship, not in your career. The right person, the one who's truly meant to be in your life, will see your light from the very start. Not after you beg for it, not after you prove yourself, but from the moment you walk in the room, they'll feel it. I say this not just from my personal experiences, but from watching the world around me. So many people waste their energy trying to be enough for someone who just doesn't get them. They twist themselves, shrink their voices, and overextend their love in the hope that one day they'll finally be seen. But let me tell you something powerful. Your light doesn't need to be dimmed just because someone's wearing blinders. It's not your job to make them understand your value. It's your job to live it. Think about it. When you walk into a room lit by a chandelier, you don't need someone to explain that it's beautiful. You just see it. You feel it. That's how it should be with people too. When it's right, there's no confusion, no convincing, no performing, just recognition. And when someone sees your light, they don't run from it. They don't compare it. They don't question it. They honor it. I've learned this the hard way. I've had relationships where I felt like I had to keep proving myself, keep showing that I was worth loving, worth choosing. It's exhausting, it's heartbreaking, and eventually you start to forget your own value because you're so busy trying to get someone else to validate it. But the truth is, real love doesn't ask you to prove, it asks you to be. When someone is right for you, whether it's a partner, a friend, a mentor, they will get it. They will see your dreams and say, that's building. They will see your flaws and still choose you. They won't run when it gets real. They won't make you question your place in their life because they'll know you were meant to be there. And please don't mistake attention for alignment. Just because someone gives you a little energy doesn't mean they truly see you. Seeing your light means understanding who you are, not just who you can be for them. It's seeing your strength and not being intimidated. It's seeing your heart and choosing to protect it. It's seeing your power and encouraging it to grow, not shrink. You should never have to lower your standards to meet someone halfway. You should never have to tone down your brilliance because they're uncomfortable with your shine. The right person, your person, will not only accept your light, they will be inspired by it. They will add to it. They will reflect it back to you. So stop chasing people who can't see you. Stop explaining yourself to those who only listen with judgment. Stop pouring yourself into relationships where you constantly feel like you're auditioning for a role that should already be yours. You are not too much. You are not too complicated. You are not asking for too much when you want to be seen, loved, and chosen fully. You are asking for the bare minimum, the love you deserve in the form that doesn't require negotiation. And yes, it might take time to find that person, but I promise you it's worth the wait. Because when they do arrive, it'll feel different. You won't feel anxious or unsure. You won't wonder if you're enough. You'll just know. So hold out for that. Hold out for the kind of connection where you're met with understanding, support, and excitement without having to light yourself on fire just to keep them warm. Your light is sacred. It's beautiful. It's powerful. Don't waste it trying to get the wrong people to notice. Keep shining unapologetically. Keep growing unashamed. Keep becoming unfazed. Because the ones who are meant to walk with you, they'll see your light from the start and they'll never ask you to dim it. Let that be your standard. Let that be your truth. And never settle for less again. Let me say this loud and clear. If something from your past couldn't stay, it's because it wasn't meant to grow with you. That chapter ended for a reason, not because you weren't enough, but because you were destined for more than it could ever hold. And that's a truth many of us don't realize until we've evolved beyond the version of ourselves that once accepted less. You're growing into someone your past couldn't handle. That's why it didn't last. It's easy to look back on broken friendships, failed relationships, or missed opportunities and wonder, why didn't it work? What could I have done differently? But sometimes the most honest answer is this. You were outgrowing the situation. Quietly, gradually, deeply, you were becoming a version of yourself that your past simply couldn't contain. And here's the thing about growth. It's uncomfortable. It requires space. It disrupts the familiar. So naturally, things that once fit you perfectly begin to feel tight. People you used to relate to suddenly feel distant. Environments that once made you feel safe begin to feel limiting. That's not a failure. That's a sign of transformation. You're not who you were last year or even last month. And that's a beautiful, powerful thing. But growth doesn't always look glamorous. Sometimes it looks like solitude. Sometimes it looks like walking away from people you once thought you'd love forever. Sometimes it looks like choosing yourself over someone else's comfort. And that can be hard. That can break your heart a little. But it also rebuilds you. Let me tell you something personal. There have been times in my life where I had to let go of things that once meant the world to me. Not because I didn't love them anymore, but because I loved myself enough to evolve. I had to stop making myself small to fit into spaces that no longer reflected who I was becoming. And it wasn't easy, but it was necessary. You see, the people and experiences from your past weren't necessarily bad. Some of them were beautiful for who you were back then. They helped shape you, teach you, support you, but growth requires shedding. Not everything can come with you. You're stepping into a version of yourself that your younger self would be in awe of. Stronger, wiser, bolder, more intentional. And this version of you, she doesn't need to beg to be understood. She doesn't need to compromise her peace to maintain toxic connections. She doesn't dim her light for anyone. And the people who truly love you, the ones meant to walk beside you in this next chapter, they won't fear your growth. They'll celebrate it. They'll match your energy. They'll grow with you. But the people who were only comfortable with a smaller version of you, they might leave, they might resist. They might try to hold you back because they can't handle the brilliance you're stepping into. Let them go. With grace, with love, with peace. Because here's the truth. When something ends, it's not always a loss. Sometimes it's alignment. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes it's your higher self pulling you out of something that no longer fits your purpose. Don't resent the past for not lasting. Thank it for the lessons, for the memories, for the way it helped you grow. But don't keep trying to go back. You don't belong there anymore. You're not broken because your past couldn't keep up. You're evolving, and that's something to be proud of. So stop asking, why didn't they stay? Start saying, I'm proud of how far I've come. Stop mourning the version of you that was willing to settle just to be accepted. Start celebrating the version of you that knows her worth, even if that means standing alone for a while. You are not too much. You are not hard to love. You are simply growing, becoming the woman you were always meant to be. So here's what I want you to remember. Your past couldn't handle your future. That's why it ended. Not because you failed, but because you evolved. And what's coming next? It's going to match your energy, your purpose, your power. Keep growing. Keep rising. Your future is waiting. Let's talk about something that challenges even the strongest of us. Waiting. That space between where you are and where you want to be. The uncertainty. The not knowing. The endless questions we whisper to ourselves. When will it happen? Why hasn't it happened yet? Am I running out of time? I've been there. And if you're there right now, let me say this to you gently but firmly. Trust divine timing. What's meant for you is already making its way. You see, life doesn't run on our schedule. It doesn't check our timelines, our mood boards, or our carefully crafted plans. Life unfolds in a rhythm much deeper than what we can control. And while that can feel frustrating at times, it's also incredibly beautiful, because what's meant for you will never miss you. Not because you're lucky, but because what's aligned for your soul will always find its way back to you, even if it takes a little longer than you expected. I know that's easier said than done, especially when you're putting in the work, when you're showing up, growing, healing, sacrificing, dreaming, and still not seeing the results you imagined. That's when we start comparing ourselves to others. That's when we start forcing outcomes, settling for less, or questioning our worth. But let me remind you of something. Delayed doesn't mean denied. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not on its way. Some blessings take longer to build because they require a stronger foundation. Sometimes the universe is not saying no, it's saying not yet, love. You're not ready. They're not ready, but it's coming. And it's in that space between now and next that we have to lean into trust. Trust that you're not being overlooked. Trust that what's for you is being prepared with just as much intention as the work you're doing on yourself. Trust that your story is unfolding exactly as it should, even if you don't understand the plot twists right now. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that forcing things, whether it's relationships, jobs, or decisions, only leads to misalignment. It might look like progress in the moment, but eventually it unravels. Why? Because it wasn't rooted in truth. It wasn't guided by timing. It was driven by fear. Fear of being left behind, fear of not being chosen, fear of time running out. But here's the thing, what's truly meant for you won't need to be forced. It will flow. You'll still need to show up, to work, to stay grounded, but you won't have to beg, chase, or compromise your soul to keep it. It'll feel like home, even if it's new, even if it's big. It will align, not exhaust. So if you're in a season of waiting right now, don't see it as punishment. See it as preparation. This is the part where you water your roots, where you become strong in the unseen places, where you trust that even when nothing looks like it's happening, everything is happening. Beneath the surface, beyond your line of sight, it's all being woven together in perfect timing. And when that moment arrives, when the love shows up, when the opportunity lands, when the dream becomes real, you'll understand exactly why it had to take this long, because you'll be ready, because it'll be real, because you'll recognize that it wasn't just about getting what you wanted. It was about becoming the version of you who could receive it fully. So take a breath, let go of the timeline, stay in your lane, do your part, and then release the rest. Because stressing over timing won't bring things faster, but trusting it will give you peace while you wait. And you deserve peace, not just at the destination, but all the way through the journey. I want you to hear this clearly. You're not late. You're not lost. You're right on time. The universe isn't working against you, it's working for you. Quietly, precisely, faithfully. So keep showing up with open hands and a strong heart. Keep dreaming, keep trusting, because what's meant for you, it's already on its way. And when it arrives, it'll feel just right. That's divine timing, and it never misses. Let's talk about what's next, not for them, not for the world, but for you, because your next chapter, it's not about showing anyone what they lost. It's not about trying to impress the ones who didn't see your worth. It's not about revenge, validation, or applause. It's about you, just you. You see, we spend so much of our lives trying to prove something to someone. Maybe it's the one who left you doubting your value. Maybe it's the friend who betrayed you, or the people who underestimated you, dismissed your dreams, mocked your ambition. We carry those wounds. We carry that fire. And sometimes we let it drive us, and yes, anger can be fuel. Heartbreak can be fuel, but only for so long. Because if you're constantly living to prove a point, you'll burn yourself out trying to meet expectations that were never meant for you in the first place. So here's the shift. Stop living to prove something to them. Start living to become everything for yourself. Let that sink in. You're not here to win someone back. You're not here to make them regret walking away. You're not here to get their attention. You're here to become someone who is so aligned, so full, so focused that you no longer need to be seen to feel valid. That's where real freedom is. That's where your power lives. Because the moment you stop chasing external approval, you begin to hear your own voice clearly. You start moving differently. You make choices that are rooted in your truth, not in your trauma. You stop performing and start living. And let me tell you something, when you step into that kind of energy, nothing is more magnetic. Nothing is more powerful. This next chapter is about becoming. Not becoming who they wanted, not becoming who you think you should be, but becoming who you really are, without apology, without compromise. It's about taking up space, speaking your truth, wearing your boldness like armor, not shame. It's about choosing your peace over proving your point, choosing your purpose over chasing people, choosing your growth over staying stuck. You don't need to be someone's lesson. You don't need to be someone's regret. You need to be your own becoming story, one that's written in your voice, on your terms, with your heart leading the way. And let's be honest, that takes courage. It's easier to stay in that loop of, I'll show them. It's easier to let pain become your reason. But that kind of energy only keeps you tied to the people and moments that hurt you. Real power is walking away without the need to explain. Real growth is rising without needing applause. And that's the chapter you're writing now. The one where you let go of trying to be enough for someone else and instead decide to be everything for you. Not because you're selfish, but because you finally realize you are worthy of becoming everything you've ever dreamed of. For yourself, not for anyone else. Your healing, it's for you. Your success, it's for you. Your softness, your strength, your boundaries, your ambition, they're all for you. You don't owe anyone a performance. You don't owe them an explanation. The people who couldn't appreciate you back then don't deserve front row seats to who you're becoming now. That's sacred, that's personal, that's powerful. So take a breath and ask yourself, what would I create if I wasn't trying to prove anything? Who would I become if I let go of needing them to see me? That's where your next chapter begins. Right there, in that question. Not in the past, not in the pain, but in the possibility of becoming. You are not behind, you are not broken, you are not unfinished. You are in the middle of something incredible. This next season is about joy, clarity, alignment, self-respect, self-love. It's about doing what feels good for your soul, not just your ego. It's about building a life so rich in purpose that even your past would smile and say, she made it. So walk into this next chapter with your head high and your heart open, not to prove anything to the world, but to finally become everything you were always meant to be. Thank you. Take care.